Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Fresh Out, the podcast, number one podcast of 2025, featuring me and Drew. I'm the board game guru and game master extraordinaire, Jahan.
And I'm the professional media and movie mastermind, the Funhouse, Drew Munhausen. Welcome to episode 144 of Fresh Out, the podcast. I had to double check that because every time I see that ever since we got into these triple digits, I'm like, man, we really been doing it for over 100, but we're almost at 150, so that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, man, we've been doing it for a while, and it's been fun. I've definitely been enjoying this project, as it were.
I agree, and amongst other things I enjoy are the Oscars. Right. And me and the dozens who still really, really care and invest ourselves in the Oscar race and this competition. These made-up awards where actors and famous people give golden statues to each other. I choose to follow this as a hobby, and I really enjoy it, even though it's completely silly. And it's why I talk about it from time to time on this show. And we're finally almost there. The Oscars are this coming Sunday.
Yep.
At the time that we're recording this. And a lot of these movies, though, to be completely honest with you, like, I'm ready to stop hearing about them and stop talking about them and, and move on and focus on the future and what's coming out in the rest of 2025, which that's a theme part of our episode. We'll get to that. But really quick, Jahan, if you don't mind indulging me, I'd like to give some last-minute predictions on at least, I'm not going to go through every Oscar category, that'd take way too long, but I wanted to go through the big eight, which are picture, director, actor, actress, supporting actress, and writing, original screenplay, and adapted screenplay. Those are kind of the big eight awards as they are. And there's two awards here that are pretty much complete locks, that if anybody else won from these list of nominations, I would be absolutely shocked. And that's Best Actor in a Supporting Role. Kieran Culkin is going to win this Oscar. He's won every single precursor. There's just no one else really even competing here realistically. So if he were to not win, that'd be a complete shock. And the same goes for Zoe Saldana, who's nominated for Emilia Perez in Best Actress in a Supporting Role. She has also won all of the precursors up to this point. If she did not win this award, it would be truly shocking. So I think that supporting actor and supporting actress are locks. It's not even worth having a conversation, entertaining the idea of other people winning. Actor in a leading role and actress, a little bit more up in the air. Actress is really... So ever since the Golden Globes, Demi Moore won Best Actress in a Drama at the Golden Globes for The Substance, and that set a narrative, and she has been winning a lot of the precursors. Before that, it seemed like Mikey Madison was the front runner for the movie Anora. Mikey Madison did just win the BAFTA award, the British version of the Oscars, for Best Actress, but Demi Moore won the SAG award recently, the Screen Actors Guild. So, and she's also won the Golden Globe and a few other precursors. So this one's tough. I do think the narrative is in favor of Demi Moore, although I would love to see Mikey Madison win. I loved Anora. It's probably my favorite movie of 2024, so I'd love to see the win. But if I Right now, where we're at, I'm going to say who will win, Demi Moore. Who should win, Mikey Madison. But we're not. Who should win doesn't matter. It's who will win. And I'm going to go with the safe bet right now, which is Demi Moore. For
You
best
coward.
actor, I know. For best actor in a leading role, it seemed like Adrian Brody was going to win this. He was winning a lot of the precursors. But then the AI controversy came out
Oh
where
boy.
some stories about his voice in some narration being modified by AI to better so that the accent was done more
Hungarian
appropriately.
accent, right?
Yeah, a rather difficult accent to replicate unless you're native there. So it was just used to tweak it. A lot of people are very upset about this and, now disregarding parts of his performance. I personally think that's a little bit of an overreaction because his performance is still undeniable in this movie, in The Brutalist. And we just have to face reality here that the ways in which AI were used in this movie are probably going to be commonplace in the future. And as much as we don't want that to happen, it is. The way it was used in this film, it didn't take jobs away from anybody. It didn't really affect anything in that way. So I think that there's morally less to debate here. It's really just more of the authenticity of what we're seeing. So I guess it just depends on who you are. Some people really, really hate where we're going with AI. And
Yeah.
I don't want to even get into all that because that's a way bigger conversation than me and you and us here. But because there are a lot of scary things there. But as far as the brutalist and AI, I think that the conversation and the narrative and the stink around it does just kind of stink. It's too bad. So that being said, a few weeks ago, I would have said Adrian Brody was the lock here. But then that controversy happened, and then Timothée Chalamet won the SAG Award this past weekend and won Best Actor for playing Bob Dylan, a complete unknown. And the
Right.
race has seemed to be kind of between Timothée Chalamet and Adrian Brody. Adrian Brody, who's already won an Oscar, but just has this undeniable performance in The Brutalist, or Timothée Chalamet, who's one of our youngest, brightest actors, as far as somebody who will be around for a long time and we're going to see great things from. And his speech at the SAG Awards was kind of awesome. Like he basically said, I'm clearly paraphrasing here. I don't have his speech in front of me, but he said, don't, he said this award means a lot to him, but he's basically said he's just getting started and that he wants to be one of the greats. And he's as inspired by people like Marlon Brando and the greats as he is by everybody in the room there, and also compared to Michael Jordan and some of the best athletes out there. He wants to be the GOAT of acting essentially,
Yeah.
and it was a pretty cool speech, and just showed that he's really driven and determined. And
I actually saw that speech. It made its rounds on TikTok, so I got it.
what
I
do you
got
think
to
of
see
it? Did you like it? Did you think
Yeah,
it
I
came off
mean,
as like cool or cocky?
it was a little cocky, but I mean, it seemed more aspirational than like I'm definitely gonna make it to the top. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it seemed more like he's just setting a goal. Uh, Hopefully, he's setting himself up for success and not failure. But hey, we'll see. I mean, he's a great actor, and I've never heard anyone say anything bad about him. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
So it's interesting to see if they award Timothy with this Oscar early in his career, and he is very good as Bob Dylan. He's great in this movie. Complete Unknown, a movie I didn't love necessarily, but it's okay. It's very long, and yeah, it's a musical biopic. I don't know what to say, and but his performance as Bob Dylan is very good. So I wouldn't be upset if he won by any means, but I'm gonna take the safe bet here and say that Adrian Brody is going to win, but there's a solid chance that Timothée Chalamet does get an Oscar win this Sunday.
I wouldn't be
So,
mad
but my
about it.
official prediction is going to be Adrian Brody. So for actor and actress, I've got Adrian Brody, Demi Moore, Kieran Culkin, and Zoe Saldana.
Okay.
For writing adapted screenplay, I think this is going to be Conclave. That seems to be the way the precursors of going for original screenplay. Again, you've got Anora and The Brutalist in this category, but also A Real Pain and Jesse Eisenberg, and they do sometimes like to reward these young writers, actors, auteurs with this award, especially when they're not going to be recognized for Best Actor or Best Director. But still, I'm going to go with The Brutalist here for Best Writing, even though it would be fun to see Jesse Eisenberg win an Oscar for Original Screenplay. I'm going to say The Brutalist will win Original Screenplay. For Best Director, I'm going to take a gamble on Best Director and Best Picture, and I'm going to go Anora and Sean Baker, respectively, for both. My reason being, Sean Baker won the DGA, the Directors Guild Award, and Anora won the Producers Guild Award for Best Picture. And so I think that enough people liked Anora and there's enough goodwill for Sean Baker that Anora is going to take the overall top award and overcome The Brutalist. Although Conclave did win the SAG Award for Best Ensemble, which is kind of their equivalent for Best Picture. I think that realistically, in the Best Picture race, the only true movies competing here are Anora and The Brutalist, and Conclave is out there on the fringes. I don't think any other movie really has a chance. I would have said Amelia Perez a few weeks ago, but after the scandals and things that have happened there with that movie, I think that its chances plummeted, and I don't think it has a shot. So, realistically, Anora or The Brutalist will likely win Best Picture. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that Anora will win and that Sean Baker will win the Oscar for Best Director. And those are my predictions, which actually took a little bit longer than I thought, but thank you for indulging me here. And
oh, too bad. Hey, man, some people huff paint, dude. This isn't so bad, as far as the addictions go. You're doing okay.
I feel like these predictions are very safe, and people that really follow the race and who listen to this are going to go, yeah, you're not really being creative here, and that's fine. But, I'm making predictions, and when you're making predictions, going the safe route and what you think is the sure bet.
Yeah, you're playing Moneyball over here. You're fucking
right.
You're reading the facts, the numbers.
Yeah, exactly. There are places like you can do essentially sports betting on the Oscars, but all my votes would have very little return because the odds are such that those are all highly favored.
Yeah.
So, moving on
excellent,
from,
man.
Thank you. Moving on from the Oscars, we wanted to do what we typically would do in early January, but our show was on hiatus there due to life events. And we typically will do a most anticipated of 2025, our most anticipated movies, TV shows, and video games for 2025. We're going to do that now, and we are 2 months into the year already. But to be honest with you, Jahan, I don't think that there's anything that came out in the last 2 months that really would have been on my list anyway. Is there anything for you?
So barely, and only in video games. So, but I've talked about how some of my most anticipated series sequels are coming out like right now. So, yeah. As far as movies and TV go, no.
For TV, I did put White Lotus Season 3 as an honorable mention. I couldn't put it. I've already seen the first 2 episodes. That show is on now. There's 8 episodes of the show, and they've only shown the first 2. But because it's already started, I put it as an honorable mention. Although, had we done this 2 weeks ago, it probably would have been on my list.
It's okay. I put a game down that I've put a couple hours into already, but I have to because it's one of my
Civ
favorites.
7.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll touch on it when we get to it. And then a couple things here. In the past, we've ranked our choices. Decided to do away with that here. I think it's easier for us to just go back and forth with picks and not have to worry about ranking. We're excited about all these things, and
I always feel like
your level of excitement can change from week to week.
I always feel like I cut something down that I didn't mean to when I'm ranking. Like I just like all these things.
And last note before we get into it, Jahan, I do have our list in front of us. I can see all your choices as well as mine before we discuss. and we don't really overlap on much. And I was gonna say, is this on purpose by design by you? You know, did you choose some different things so we have different things to talk about, or is this did this just happen by chance?
Mostly no. Mostly I picked what I wanted, but there were a couple things that I was like, yeah, that's
I
probably
think
the best.
movies in particular, like looking at your TV shows, there's one TV show I know for sure you didn't include because I did.
Yes. But there's a video game I did include because you did. So
Yeah, but I mean, but you had to.
it's a good call. Looking at your
let's-
movie
let's-
list, I would not accuse you of being an Oscar guy, and I think it's funny. But it's probably mostly because the Oscar movies tend to not get as much like early press. So
Those movies are starting to emerge now. Like we had Sundance just take place,
yeah,
but I've heard that there's not as much big impactful movies coming out of Sundance. We really don't have a clear idea of what the awards race is looking like what it's going to look like, and really what's part of it until the fall. And there's only one movie that I put in an honorable mention that we don't even know anything about, which is why I couldn't put it in my list. And I'll touch on that when we do honorable mentions. But we'll kick it off here with movies and our most anticipated. And I'm going to start off with a big one. This is the third installment in a franchise. The first two installments have made over $1 billion at the over $2 billion each at the worldwide box office. And I think that it would silly to expect that this third entry will not do the same.
yeah,
I know that not everybody is as big of a Na'vi head as I am, but I am going with Avatar: Fire and Ash, the third entry in James Cameron's Avatar franchise. A franchise that I defend, especially the first one that people like to be like, oh, it's just Dancing with Wolves and blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I love this franchise. I thought Avatar: The Way of Water was pretty magical when I saw it in the theater, and I just love the big spectacle and the effects and everything here. And Avatar: Fire and Ash, I'm expecting big things, which is why I have it on my most anticipated list of 2025. I believe it will come out in December. I would imagine that one will be part of the Oscar race as well, if history is, indicating anything.
yeah. It's funny how much sooner this one's coming out compared to the second one after the first. But yeah, I'm not a big Avatar guy. I have my issues with it, but I mean, I understand why you like it. It's pretty cool. Like
There are
big
a lot of
stuff.
things. A lot of things that can be picked apart here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And could be criticized, a lot.
Love my unobtainium, buddy. Love it.
But as far as spectacle goes, it's always a great time.
It's pretty much
to
the
be in
effects
theater
film.
for a new
Yeah,
Avatar movie.
it's always impressive, but yeah. I'm gonna open up
Absolutely.
with my big one, which is also sci-fi. So that's fun, and it's something that I will predict will be a part of the Oscar race next year. Mickey 17, the newest movie from director Bong Joon-ho, starring Robert Pattinson, in which he plays a expendable or something like that. It's called like an expendable or something, and he gets his brain downloaded into a computer, and that makes him expendable, and he could die during these dangerous space missions, and it's fine. And so it's about this guy that dies over and over again, and I guess Mickey 17's when things change. But I don't know if you've seen a lot about this movie. Oh, you're holding up a book that says Mickey 17.
As soon as they announced that Bong Joon-ho was potentially making this movie, I pre-ordered the book because the book wasn't even out yet when that was announced that Bong Joon-ho was going to film this movie with Robert Pattinson set to star. And so I've had it for like years now. And now the movie comes out in a week and a half, and I'm like, I got to read the book. I've owned it for this long, and it's a pretty breezy read. I'm halfway through it, and that's without putting that much time into it. So like, I'm enjoying the book. I'm looking forward to this movie as well.
Oh yeah, dude. Bong Joon-ho is one of my all-time favorite directors, and so yeah, dude, I wouldn't be surprised if this was in the Oscar race. So, like, I don't know how good the movie is yet, but just given his track record, I think we could see something cool here.
Yeah, in the book, like a big plot point in it is essentially at the beginning, Mickey. Actually, in the book, it's worth noting the book is Mickey 7. And so they have obviously added a lot more Mickeys into the movie version, which makes sense from a cinematic perspective. But in the book at the beginning, Mickey 7 is essentially in a situation where his comrades think like, oh, he's for sure dead. So they return back to base and order a new Mickey to be essentially printed because that's part of his role is he gets printed in his memories and, essentially cloned, printed and memories implanted. So he's back to being himself. And, but he doesn't die in the situation. He manages to get out and get back and they've already printed out a new version of him. So there's 2 of him and that's a no. That's not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And it's about navigating that, but it's a lot bigger than that, and it's a lot of sci-fi and space exploration and finding a new planet that's inhabitable for humankind and so on. I'm enjoying it, and a lot of people thought that this movie was in trouble because they kept pushing it and it was bouncing around, but critics have seen it now, and the response seems to be pretty positive. And surprise, surprise, Bong Joon-ho is good at making movies, so go figure.
Absolutely. And it's funny, it kind of reminds me of a game I really like called Journey to the Savage Planet, where you're sim situation, if you die you get cloned and all that stuff, you're exploring for humankind. So good stuff. Yeah, so that was my movie.
My next one is another big action spectacle, and the Mission Impossible franchise for me is just undeniable. And I love these movies, and I think that they are also fun to watch in theaters. And so anytime there's a new Mission Impossible movie, you can expect to find me there. So Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. Worth noting, they changed the title here. We had Dead Reckoning just a couple of years ago. That was supposed to be Dead Reckoning Part 1, and then we were going to get Dead Reckoning Part 2. But Dead Reckoning Part 1, I think, kind of underperformed at the box office a little bit. I think the Part 1, Part 2 titles are starting to go away a little bit, as we're seeing with Wicked as well. They changed Wicked Part 2 to be... I don't even remember what they changed it to, but something silly. Wicked something. Not Part 2 anymore. Yeah, Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. Tom Cruise doing Tom Cruise stuff, hanging onto airplanes, all that good stuff. He introduced the Super Bowl, and and they had Mission Impossible spots throughout that just got me fired up. So, Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning is my next pick for most anticipated of 2025.
Mission Impossible is always a good time, man, and I'm sure my dad will be very excited.
Yeah, you know what? Well, I'm a dad too.
Me too. Maybe I'll like it more now. We'll see.
Wicked for Good is the subtitle now of Wicked Part 2.
That's confusing.
Yeah.
That's
so
confusing.
Wicked and then Wicked for Good.
What happened to Wicked 2 and 3? What's going on? All right. My next one is a big one that I've been waiting for a long, long time. So 28 Days Later, great movie, fantastic. 28 Weeks Later, also a good movie. With our boy, Jeremy Renner's in there. Pretty good stuff.
Is he in the second? I've never seen 28 Weeks Later, actually. I've only seen 28 Days Later.
I don't even know what to say to you right now. But yeah.
I'm sorry. I've only seen the Danny Boyle directed one. I'm sorry.
You should check it out. It's pretty good. It's a good one. It's more actiony, less horror-y, but still horror-y and still good. So I enjoyed it. But finally, 28 years later, I guess they're skipping months unless I got the title wrong. But 28 years later, takes place 28 years after the initial infection, I think. Or maybe the secondary infection. But it's 28 years later, so we're in the future here with the infected still being an issue. So I'm pretty excited for this one. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. 28 days later changed the genre. You know, zombies became infected, and like it really, I don't know, it was a big moment. And
Fast zombies, wasn't that the thing with
fast zombies? Later? Yeah. They're not dead. They're infected, so it's like different. But yeah, I don't know, man.
Man, can't believe you would choose a zombie movie,
right?
Part of your most anticipated. For those of you who don't know, if you're a new listener to the show, Jahan's got a zombie thing. I wouldn't call it a fetish necessarily, but it's not a fetish.
It's not.
You have a zombie fetish, Jahan?
It's not a fetish. But no, I don't have a zombie fetish. It's kind of gross, actually.
Take that as you will, audience. Anything else about 28 years later?
Bro, I'm excited for it. That's all you need to know. It's coming out this year, and I don't know much about it. I haven't really looked into it because, you know, I just kind of want to experience it.
Cast seems cool. Danny Boyle's back to direct. You know, he directed the first one, so that's exciting. Yeah, I think this is going to be good. I'm looking forward to it.
I can't wait. Oh man, maybe we can go together. Be cool. We can hold hands.
Yeah, potentially.
Hell yeah.
My last of my most anticipated movies, not last ranked, just last that I'm listing here, is Fantastic Four: First Steps, and it's my only MCU movie that I included here personally. And MCU, in a little bit of a tough spot. I think Fantastic Four: First Steps looks pretty fun, at least from the trailer, at least like plot wise and what they're doing here from like the timing, the era the movie's set in, and all that. Like, it just looks like it's catching the right vibe. I think the trailer looks really fun, even if I don't think like. Cinematically, I don't know if it looks amazing, if that makes sense.
Does it look fantastic?
It does.
Fucking nailed it.
But I do think that this is going to be fun, and I think that this will be the MCU movie of the year that people are like, we're back. But we'll see. But I think I'm really looking forward to this. I've just always had a soft spot for the Fantastic Four in the comics, and they unfortunately have never been done right on the big screen. And I think Marvel is well aware of it. I think Disney is well aware of it. I think they are really trying to make this good, and it's why we've had to wait for a long time. And yeah, I have high hopes.
I've always wanted to like them. I never really have liked them, but this movie does look good, and I thought about putting it on my list, but I went with a different MCU film that I'm excited about because the trailers have they've been getting me hyped. Thunderbolts is coming out, and it looks pretty cool. The anti-Avengers kind of thing with the anti-heroes, all the assassins and CIA characters and all that stuff. Thunderbolts looks pretty cool, so. And, it's got Florence Pugh, who is the best, and I'm excited for it.
I like that you put an S at the end of her name, Florence Pugh.
It's Pugh.
Sounds funnier.
Yeah.
Than Florence Pugh.
It's better than Imogene Poots of 28 weeks later fame.
I feel like there's a lot of people out there that are not excited about Thunderbolts, and I think it looks fun, and I think I'm kind of looking forward to it. I think it's gonna low-key be good and surprise people. I'm not expecting it to be like the best movie of the year by any means, but I think it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna do some cool things. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
I like team-up movies, and I like screw-up heroes, and I like everything that it's doing going into it, and I like some of these characters they chose. Like, I'm excited to see more of Wyatt Russell's John Walker, who was pretty memorable in The Falcon and Winter Soldier. Of course, Florence Pugh and David Harbour. So, and Sebastian Stan, Bucky Barnes, Sebastian Stan, who had an incredible 2024.
Never disappoints.
Yeah, he had an incredible year. He's nominated for an Oscar. So like, this is now a big star to get excited about, who's capitalized on his Marvel fame and is doing really fun projects, but still seems to enjoy being Bucky. So I think that that's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, it's good stuff. I'm excited for it. But that's not the only superhero movie I'm excited for. Honorable mentions, I see there's one. Superman kicking off the James Gunn DC verse. Very excited for that. I didn't put it in my most anticipated because I just can't get my hopes up for DC movies. Like, it could go either way. I have hope, but not a lot. So I'll leave it at that for Superman. The trailer looked good.
I agree. I think everything about the trailer looks like James Gunn's done it right and is hitting on something that modern Superman readers know what I'm talking about. Like, there's just a certain tone of modern Superman comics that you can't really get from like the old Christopher Reeve version of the movie, and it's really hard to do with modern Superman. And James Gunn just seems to get the vibe, and I'm excited for this. I'm with you. Like, I'm just more of a Marvel guy in general. DC's been pretty low. They hit rock bottom essentially here recently, and they're really trying to build it back up. I really enjoyed Creature Commandos, which is the first real entry of the new DCU.
The Gunverse.
So Superman looks like it's going to be pretty awesome.
Creature Commandos absolutely slaps. But yeah.
Yep. I also put on the honorable mentions F1, and really I put this here because this is, Brad Pitt in an F1 movie. The stunts and everything from what we've seen are pretty cool. This is directed by Joseph Kosinski, who directed Top Gun Maverick, a movie that I really, really enjoyed. So this is another big budget spectacle stunt film. I think it's had a little bit more behind the scenes issues than Top Gun Maverick did, and that makes me worry. This is actually an Apple film that will get wide release in theaters and then eventually end up on Apple TV Plus. But yeah, I have enough goodwill with Joseph Kosinski after Top Gun Maverick. I like Brad Pitt as a movie star. This either has potential to be awesome or to be a disaster, and I'm hoping that it's awesome.
Hell yeah, man. I mean, I like Top Gun Maverick. It was pretty good.
Yeah. So that's that. And then I put here, this is the most Drew pick of these, but I put Paul Thomas Anderson's next movie because there's a few reasons it's on honorable mentions. A, there's a lot of rumors it could get pushed out of 2026. And let me actually check that and make sure it didn't already get pushed and I'm forgetting. Let's see here. Paul Thomas Anderson. Filmography. Yeah, no, it's still saying 2025, potentially. His last movie was Licorice Pizza, came out in 2021. This movie is allegedly called One Battle After Another, is the upcoming film. Stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Regina Hall, Sean Penn, Alana Haim, Benicio del Toro. So there's some big names in there. But there's really not anything known about this movie at all, and that's been kind of Paul Thomas Anderson's thing recently, right? Like Licorice Pizza, we knew a name for a while, but we didn't know what it was about until it was here. And this one's just been kind of under wraps. There are rumors it might not even come out this year. It looks like it's going to, but I just couldn't put it in my most anticipated list without really knowing. Full transparency, last year when we did our most anticipated lists, I had Megalopolis as my number one just because I was excited for Francis Ford Coppola coming back and doing this big, like, self-financed movie, and we know how that went. It was not received very well. So I've learned my lesson from putting movies on my list that we don't really know what it's about or if it's even going to get distribution. So, yeah.
We'll see. Yeah. What was it called? Metropolis?
Megalopolis?
Megalopolis. Jesus Christ. Oh, that movie looks so bad. Looks so bad.
I'll let you kick off our most anticipated TV because I'm actually going to take the time to go back and find our most anticipated of 2024 lists because it might be fun to actually reflect on those.
Yeah.
While we're doing this too.
I'll kick it off. I just finished a complete rewatch of the first 4 seasons of Stranger Things. And let me tell you, if I wasn't hyped for season 5 before I am now, that show has only gotten, well, first season's better than the second season. Other than that, it's only gotten better season after season, with season 4 feeling like they really understand what they're doing. I don't know, man. It's such a cool mythos. It's such a cool bunch of lore. Such a cool world, and such good characters. And it's gotten to a point where there's no way season 5 couldn't be amazing. And so I'm very excited for that. And I see you are too. So that's very cool. Summer?
Yep, I had. Do you remember? I'm pretty sure we. Yeah, I assume summer. I think were doing the show when like Stranger Things season 4 was coming out, and you and Gary were talking about it and raving about it on the show, and I was like, I fell off Stranger Things in season 2, whatever, and then I finally went through.
Yeah, we
and finished season 2 and binge season 3 and binge season 4, and I was like way back on the Stranger Things hype train, enough that I put it on my list too. So yeah,
that's good. Yeah, no, season 2 is a bit of a road hump. It's not bad, but it is not the best season. And season 3 definitely gets back on track. Season 4 is just fantastic. Cameo by Freddy Krueger himself. Super cool.
Very cool. Well, I'll say a big one for Fresh TV here, or for most anticipated TV. I mean, The Last of Us season 2. I love The Last of Us video games. I thought the first season of The Last of Us did a great job of representing the game while also doing some new and different things. It managed to stay really true to the game while also being its own thing, with great performances from its leads, even though the video game characters are iconic. And so I feel like I'm able to separate the two and enjoy both. The Last of Us Part 2, the video game, goes into some really interesting territory, with what they do with the Joel character and Ellie really taking center stage. Ellie, is the main playable character of the second game. It's worth noting you play as Joel in the first game and Ellie in the second game, so this story is really about to be more Ellie focused. But there's another major character named Abby that will be introduced in season 2, and there's just a lot of stuff that happens in this game, man, that I'm interested to see how they decide to portray this on the show, and how they go about it, and if they change things, because I think that we're in a place where they could take a lot of liberties if they want to, and I think they have goodwill of the fans, that fans can separate the show from the game and enjoy the show for what it is if it goes a different path. So I'm very interested to see this. Caitlin Deaver's got she's the one playing Abby in the show, and I feel like she's got I'm trying to figure out how to say this eloquently, but like the fan base were really harsh on that character in the game, the character that she's now portraying in the show, and so I hope that
which character Abby
is Abby. Yes.
Is that the one that's voiced by Laura Bailey?
Correct.
Yep. you mean the voice actress that got death threats because of her character?
That would be the one.
Yep.
That would be the one. So I just hope that I'm interested to see how the Abby stuff is handled in the show, and I think there are some things that are going to be unavoidable. But I just, man, the story in The Last of Us Part 2 is just so good. It's so good, Jahan, and I'm excited to see how it plays out in the show.
I'm excited too. I was never a PlayStation guy, so I never got to experience The Last of Us except through the show. So I'm definitely excited for this to happen.
I think it's worth noting too. I think a big reason why this is a little bit of a tangent, but a big reason why The Last of Us Part 2, the game, has a special place for me is it came out in the summer of 2020. So we were really in the depths of COVID and isolation and whatnot, and just the world was an unsure place. I had a 5-6 month old daughter at that time too, so I was like a new parent in COVID, and then this game came out that I was just able to escape into, and so like it holds a really special place for me just because of how much I was able to invest myself in that game and escape from the, not that a post-apocalyptic zombie infested, fungi infested world is a great place to escape to, but just the story was so good that I can remember all my time playing this game so well, even though it was almost 5 years ago. So to see a new interpretation of that in the TV show has me very excited.
Hell yeah, man. No, it's always great when games tie you to a period of your life like that.
Yep.
It's why we do it, man. It's why we do it. As far as TV shows go, my next one I think we're both probably excited for, but I put it on my list because I am hyped. Season 1 blew everyone's minds, everyone's expectations. Twisted Metal starring Anthony Mackie. Season 2 dropping this year, 2025. Can I get an hallelujah?
Oh,
Amen, brother. Fucking amen. This is gonna be great, man. They were building up towards the tournament at the end of season 1. They were building up Calypso, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna see Axel, which is just crazy that we're gonna see Axel live action, but they did a good job with Sweet Tooth, so I'll trust them to do this crazy stuff. I'm so excited for this, man. I couldn't believe how good season 1 was. Season 2, they have my full confidence.
yeah, I just remember being so pleasantly surprised by the first season, and
No.
I feel like it's still not widely seen, but we had a great time. I think we were the only podcast
They talked about it.
really about it. And yeah, I'm excited for season 2 because I think they set up all the story and the characters in season 1, so season 2 can really just be pretty crazy if they want it to, and I hope that it is.
I'm sure it will be. Season 1 was nuts. I'm excited.
Great. Well, my third TV pick, because my second was Stranger Things, and we already discussed that. My third pick is A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which is a new show set in the Game of Thrones universe. Honestly, I've kind of kept blind on this. Like, I've seen little glimpses of it on HBO previews, and from what I've seen, it looks good. The buzz around it is pretty good. And despite not knowing much of it, I'm putting it here because I just really love the Game of Thrones universe and the shows, and I think that HBO takes careful, they're despite everything that has happened and is happening with Warner Brothers, they know that Game of Thrones is important, and I don't think they're going to screw it up. And so I liked House of the Dragon so much more than I ever thought that I would. So I'm excited for another Game of Thrones show. Just throw me back into that universe with new characters and new things that are, that's its own story. So I'm excited for A Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Yeah. Warner Brothers has a bunch of amazing IPs. They make a lot of cool stuff, but their higher ups, their CEOs and their stockholders and all that stuff do not have my trust. They are all about the money. They screw things up all the time. But
yes,
I mean,
agree on all counts for what it's worth.
If you had told me about this show before House of the Dragon, I would have been like, who cares? It's not going to be good. And then after House of the Dragon, though, same thing as you, man. House of the Dragon was so good, so much better than I could have hoped it to be. And so they reinstilled some trust in the IP of Game of Thrones for me. So I'm also looking forward to A Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Awesome. Well, your last pick is coming up soon,
dude. It's
next
coming
week
up
soon.
Like next week soon. Very excited. Totally anticipating this awesome show. I just can't believe it actually is coming back. Cannot believe. If you would ask me a couple years ago, never, ever would this show come back. Daredevil's coming back. It's coming out on Disney Plus. The original cast from the Netflix series, everybody's coming back. Charlie Cox is Daredevil. What else can I say? That show was perfect on Netflix. It was so good. I don't know. No one could have ever expected just so much amazing acting, writing, just the raw emotion, the depths of the human soul that they explore in that show. It's so ridiculous that it's a superhero show, and you're seeing, it really highlights what superheroes can be, and it's just so good, man. I can't wait.
I think that hopes for this too because full transparency, I kind of fell off of Daredevil with the third season, and I never watched the Punisher series that they made on Netflix with John Bernthal. Just by I liked him a lot in season two, and season two I feel like of the Daredevil Netflix show is where it was really cooking.
It was.
I think that what's cool here is Daredevil Born Again. It's in the name. This is a rebirth of the character that I think is going to make fans of the previous Netflix show happy, but also invites new viewers in to start fresh. And I think that that's a really smart way to go. And I'm interested to see how they, how they put Daredevil more in the MCU. Charlie Cox just seems all in on playing Daredevil all the time for forever. Obviously, we've seen him pop up in a Spider-Man movie, and he's been playing this character for 10 years now. And worth noting, in the Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man TV show, the cartoon animated series on Disney Plus, which I did finish and really enjoyed that show and everything that it did, and I highly recommend it. Daredevil does make a couple cameos in the series and is voiced by Charlie Cox. And that's not the only other superhero to make a cameo in the show, but it is one of the only superheroes to be in the show that is voiced by the MCU actor, which I thought was pretty cool. Charlie Cox voiced the character there. So I think it just shows his dedication to, like, if anybody's going to be Daredevil, it's going to be Charlie Cox.
And he's all in. That's him. He did it. I couldn't imagine someone else playing that character. Especially not like Ben Affleck. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus Christ.
Oh man, what a great movie.
What a great movie.
You remember when Colin Farrell played Bullseye?
Mm-hmm.
I remember.
I sure do. You got some honorable mentions here.
Yeah, we do. I put White Lotus season 3, just like I said, I couldn't put it in my list because that season has already started. I'm 2 episodes in. Really enjoying it, and it might come up again in this episode. Spoiler alert. But I put Wednesday season 2 on here because this is another one that we were recording the podcast. You and Gary were watching Wednesday and saying positive things about it. And I was like, I'm not watching the Tim Burton Wednesday Addams show. Like, I'm good. And y'all were like, no, I promise it's good. And I said, so good. And it was such a phenomenon, pop culture wise. I was like, okay, fine. And I really liked it. Yep, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm actually looking forward to it.
Sometimes we know what we're talking about. Sometimes we're on the pulse.
Jenna Ortega is one of the most exciting young stars for me personally. Like, I can watch her in anything, and I really enjoy her. She's got a new movie,
Death of the Unicorn, on my most anticipated.
I was gonna say, Death of the Unicorn looks amazing.
Her and Paul Rudd are gonna be so good together.
I also put I almost put the Paul Rudd Tim Robinson movie on my honorable mentions too. I can't think of what it's called now, but it looks very funny. Have you seen the trailer for this movie?
Oh my
God! Where they're
God.
neighbors, and the friends, and then like essentially have a breakup. It's called Friendship. Yeah, it's called Friendship.
Tim Robinson is a psycho, and I fucking love him for it. He's so unhinged, and he touches me right in my funny bone.
Yeah, I think he's hilarious, and I'm excited to see him in a major movie like this with Paul Rudd, and how can you go wrong?
I can't wait. Yeah, my honorable mentions would have been Creature Commandos and Invincible, because I've already been watching them, but yeah.
Is Creature Commandos Season 2 supposed to come out this year?
I don't think so. Didn't Creature Commandos Season 1 come out this year?
Creature Commando, it technically came out, or started in December. So I guess it ended this year.
Okay. I feel like that'd be soon, but maybe.
Yeah. We'll see. They're just announcing stuff left and right. Like now they've announced the Clayface stuff, and yeah, there's just all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, they got to get those investor numbers up. Yeah. So, I mean, that does it for TV. And like, man, I'm more excited for movie and TV this year than I thought I was initially. TV is looking to be really good this year, though.
Yeah,
But
there's a lot of TV from last year too that I still need to catch up on, like the Penguin stuff like that. I haven't watched, and I'd like to.
I need to catch. I saw the first episode of The Penguin. It was fantastic. And the female lead, I forget her name.
It is. Oh gosh,
But her performance.
she's just won a bunch of awards
yeah.
too.
I think she won some for Penguin because her performance was so exceptional.
She did. Kristen Milotti.
Kristen Milotti. I love her. She's fantastic.
I most associate her with the movie Palm Springs.
Palm Springs, absolutely, yeah. If it's a Groundhog's Day, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know why, I never get sick of that trope. If it's a Groundhog's Day, I'll watch it. I don't know why, I'll never get sick of that trope.
What if it was zombie groundhogs?
If it's a Groundhog's Day, zombie Groundhog's Day would be awesome, dude.
Zombies.
I'd be all about it. That'd be fun. Oh man, if that's not a thing, we should make that, Drew.
Oh boy. Okay, we're getting off track here. But fresh games. Let's do it.
Let's do fresh games, man.
There's one here. It's on both of our lists. It's on every gamer's list. It's on every non-gamer's list. It's the biggest game to come out since 2013, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's be real.
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto 6 seems like it's really happening. It's coming out this year. They've doubled down on that it's going to come out this year. We've already talked about in the last couple weeks the potential of its price being higher, all that kind of stuff. I'm not here to talk about all that. I'm just here to talk about another big Grand Theft Auto game coming out. This game will be monstrous. It will be the best-selling game of the year. I'm sure it will review well. I mean, it's GTA 6. It's
GTA 6, if it's not the hottest selling game this year and it doesn't get a 10 out of 10, I would be shocked. Like, yeah. they have my full... After GTA 5, you guys know what you're doing.
GTA 5 still regularly shows up in the top 10 best-selling games of the month list.
Because it's still just always up there. And they keep adding content still. It's ridiculous.
I'm guilty. I've bought it 3 times, Jahan. I've bought that game 3 times.
I bought it twice.
I bought it on Xbox. I guess Xbox One 360.
Was it 360?
Yeah, I bought it on Xbox 360.
Shit, I bought it 3 times too. No, I don't think it was on 360. I think it was 1.
No, Jahan, it was on 360.
Jeez.
I bought it on Xbox 360 when it launched, and then they re-released it on Xbox One and PS4.
Yeah.
And that's why I bought it again, because then I bought it on PS4.
Same.
And then they've continued to support it, and eventually I bought it on Xbox One.
Same.
So, even because I think it had just they'd put it on Game Pass for a while, then it went off of Game Pass, and it was like on sale for $20 or something. I was like, I'm just gonna buy this so I always have it.
Yeah.
So I bought that game 3 times, and it came out for the 360.
I think I've bought Skyrim 4 times, so I wouldn't feel too bad.
Skyrim I've bought twice. So yeah, that's another one.
I think I have 2 physical copies
in
here.
September of 2013.
Wild, dude. GTA, yeah, I don't know. What can we say about GTA? It's going to be bigger, better, badder, and more amazing than anyone could possibly imagine. I mean, they're going to still have GTA 6 online, right? Like, they're not taking that away from us, right? Like, it's going to... They kind of perfected their online game. Like, I hope they bring it back, because, like, holy crap, man. I'm going to be on there doing crime. Hardcore with my friends.
Yep.
So, yep. Enough said, buddy. Enough said. Yeah. So, I'm going to start off with a game that is already out, but it has to be on my list because it's one of the top games of the year for me. Period. I've been waiting for years for Civilization 7 to drop. I've only managed to play like 1 full game so far, and it's fantastic. The changes they made are amazing. There's a lot of quality of life improvements. They've simplified a lot of things while adding endless depth to all kinds of systems. They've made a lot of their expansion content from the last game work seamlessly as a main part of this game. Everything you want from a sequel, they seem to have accomplished here. And all the problems that they had with server issues, games not saving properly online, and all this other stuff seem to have been solved. Civ 7, like 10 out of 10 for me, dude. I can't wait. It's still anticipated for me because I'm going to play this game until my computer explodes. Like, I'm all in on it.
Love it. Yeah, you got to be true to yourself. Put Civ 7. Like I said, if we had done this list 2 months ago,
It would have been on it.
This would have been on your list.
Yes, sir.
So, my next one is a little bit of a cheat code, because we know the Switch 2 has officially been announced. We know we're going to find out more about it in just over a month. But we do know that a new Mario Kart game is launching with the console. They've essentially confirmed that. We've seen a little bit of footage. So this kind of has an asterisk because I'm like, I didn't want to say the Switch 2 because we're talking about anticipated games, and that's a console, not a game. But I'm also hesitant to be like, Mario Kart would be on my list of most anticipated games, but I really think they're going to announce a true, 3D Mario game this year. Like, I think that there's the potential of the follow-up to Super Mario Odyssey coming out this year, like a true 3D Mario game. So that would be this spot if I knew for sure, but I can't put a game I don't even know for sure is coming out this year on my list. So I'm putting Mario Kart with an asterisk, because it comes with the Switch 2, it comes with all that, and there might be some other Switch 2 game that's announced that would be on this list. So I just can't not acknowledge that there's a new Nintendo console coming out this year with a new Mario Kart game, but potentially other games I might even be more excited for. So it's all that lumped in. As I have it here on our list, I have Switch 2 parentheses Mario Kart. I know it's a cheat code, but I'm putting it on the list.
No, man, I understand. Like, the fact that this year is starting off with some of all of my favorite franchises are getting installments this year, and then at the end of the year, I'm getting a Switch 2. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
This is probably the best year for video gamers in easily 10 years. Maybe even more.
We're going to get a Switch 2, followed by GTA 6, followed by a new Avatar movie in the same year. Just everybody's going to be spending all their money.
Yeah, dude. They're doing it this year, man. They're doing it this year for real. Pop culture going off. Speaking of my favorite franchises, another one of mine's coming out. This one's not out, so I'm not cheating here. It will be out. Maybe at midnight tonight, actually. But
I was going to say, by the time that this episode publishes...
By the time this episode airs, Monster Hunter Wilds will be available for everyone. I already have it pre-downloaded on my Xbox. I already told my old lady that I can't watch the kid on Friday because I got stuff to do. I'm playing the shit out of this game. I'm pretty sure I'm going to go Gunlance this time. Monster Hunter Wilds looks great. It looks like they learned everything from Monster Hunter World when it comes to accessibility to the franchise, and then all the stuff they learned about what the hardcore fans liked in Rise, and they combined them together into an unholy amalgamation of gaming excellence. Like, this game, it's already reviewing pretty well. It's not getting 10 out of 10s or anything, but the Monster Hunter franchise, just by its nature, not for everybody. As a fan who has played literally every installment of this franchise, I am beyond hyped. I played the first one on PlayStation 2, Drew.
Wild.
And then I had to buy a PSP to play the next one, I think. And
I bought the one that came out on 3DS.
Yep.
Probably
that was a good one.
10 years ago? It was reviewed so well. It was like, people loved it, and then I bought it, and it was not what I thought, and I was not ready for what it was, and so I didn't put much time with it, but it was cool.
Yeah, man, they're bringing
That's the
back
only one I've
something
really touched
in this game that I don't believe has resurged since the DS version, which is underwater monster fights. And
oh, cool.
They were really fun in the DS. I can't wait to play it on a big screen though. So, dude, Monster Hunter, I know it's not your thing. I'm beyond excited for it. Beyond excited.
I understand. Well, I'm putting as my next anticipated game South of Midnight, which is an Xbox Game Studios published game from Compulsion Games. It's this cool southern gothic kind of themed folklore setting, but with this really cool third person stop motion look. And I just think it looks really awesome.
Looks amazing.
And this is a Drew game, right? Like a third person action adventure game with a cool aesthetic. It's probably not going to be a super long game. Like we're looking at a 10 to 12 hour experience, just a good old fun time. And I'm really looking forward to it. Just the visuals and everything have me super excited. And
you think it's going to be that short?
I think it's going to be short. I think it's going to be a smaller experience. If you know, like I don't even know if this game's going to be a full price game. Like I don't think this is going to be a $70 game. For those that don't have Game Pass, I don't know that for sure. I'd have to look at if it's even up for pre-order yet. But that's the vibe I've gotten from the previews and stuff I've seen. But this is just a game that feels developed for me. And to go straight into honorable mentions from here, it's the reason why I included this. There's some games that I think are probably going to be better. Like, I think Doom the Dark Ages will be better, and I think Ghost of Yotai will be better. But the reason I didn't include those is that they're sequels, and, like, I know what to expect with those games. Like, I loved Ghost of Tsushima, and the sequel, Ghost of Yotai, I'm sure is going to be great. And we're going to see more of it very soon. And Doom the Dark Ages, we've seen a lot of that game. I know exactly what that game's going to be, and I'm going to love it. The Metal Gear Solid.
I'm just excited for Ghost of Yoti pissing off all the alpha bros. That shit's hilarious to me.
Right. I just felt like I wanted to put something in this spot that I didn't really know what it's going to be or how it's going to be received, and I think that this looks like a really. I think it's a good pick,
and I did look into it. It is a $40 release, so it is not a full. Okay. It's not a AAA release, but it looks fantastic. So I'm also all in on this one. Day one on Game Pass, can't get better than that.
Agreed. So again, honorable mentions. I put Ghost of Yotai, Doom: The Dark Ages. I put Clair Obscur Expedition 33, which is that RPG that looks really awesome.
Expedition 33. It has like Game of the Year potential. Like it looks good.
Which I'm wondering about this one too, because I believe I saw on the PlayStation Store this game's only retailing for like maybe $49.99, so it's not a full priced game either, which shocked me because I think it looks fantastic.
It looks so good. That's surprising to me, man.
But Doom: The Dark Ages, Expedition 33, South of Midnight, obviously I'll be playing all of these on Xbox Day 1 because they'll be on Game Pass. Ghost of Yotai, I'm sure I'll buy that for PS5 as soon as I can. I also put Metal Gear Solid Delta, which Snake Eater, which is the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. That's the only Metal Gear Solid game that I have not completed. And I think it's just because of the timing and what it was and when it came out. So I'm probably going to dive into this remake because I think it looks pretty fun, and I haven't played a Metal Gear Solid game.
I didn't beat
in a long
it either,
time.
And it was really good when I was playing it. So yeah, I might check this one out too. I'm super excited for a sequel to a game that caught me off guard, Journey to the Savage Planet. I picked that up on Game Pass. No expectations. It was just a free game that looked fun. I had the time of my life playing that game. I don't know why. It's definitely not the best game ever, but the platforming, the combat, the humor, the story, it just was all very fun, charming, engaging. Journey to Savage Planet 2 is all of that plus co-op. Very cool. Very excited for that one. There's a few other games that are coming out that I'm excited for, but like they don't have release dates. I don't know if it's going to be this year. Like Monster Train 2's coming out. Stuff like that. Stuff that I don't want to flood people's ears with. But like I said, this is going to be a landmark year in gaming. Mark my words.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
Before we wrap up and go with our fresh picks, I did find our most anticipated of 2024.
Okay.
If you want to go back in the show, this would be episode 115 of Fresh Out the Podcast, where we discuss these. My top three, or excuse me, most anticipated three were Megalopolis.
Oh boy.
Furiosa, which was great, and Nosferatu, which made my top five of the year. So I feel good about those. Megalopolis is obviously the one that didn't work out. My honorable mentions were Gladiator 2, Horizon, and American Saga, F1 movie, which obviously didn't come out in 2024. It's coming out this year. Had Beetlejuice 2 as an honorable mention, which I thought was okay. Beetlejuice 2 is pretty good. And I had Mickey 17 as an honorable mention, which got pushed to this year.
Yep.
Your top three were Deadpool. You had Deadpool 3,
Okay.
which surely we knew at that time it was called Deadpool and Wolverine.
I don't think we
know
did
that?
yet. I don't think we did yet.
Maybe not. But you had Deadpool 3. You had Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim, which, did you even see that?
I did. I did. I saw it for my birthday, and it was good. I didn't like it as much as some people, but it was a good movie. It was definitely worth seeing, and as a Lord of the Rings fan, it was pretty cool.
And then you had Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes,
Which I did not see.
which is good. It's pretty good.
Okay.
It's really long, but it's good.
Yeah. I've been having trouble sitting through long movies lately.
Understandable. Totally understandable. Your honorable mentions were Mickey 17,
Yep.
which, as we said, got pushed to this year. Alien Romulus, which was good.
Which was...
Good movie.
I liked it a lot, yeah.
Yeah. And you had Furiosa also on your
Okay.
honorable mentions. Gary, who obviously is not here, but I'll still go through his because his are fun. He had Furiosa on his most anticipated. He had Dune Part 2 on his, and he also had Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim. His honorable mentions included If,
Boy.
the John Krasinski Imaginary Friend movie, which is not good. He had Beetlejuice 2 and Joker Folie à Deux
Oh, no.
on his honorable mentions. So all aged well.
Hindsight's 2020.
For TV shows, I had House of the Dragon Season 2, which I enjoyed. The Penguin, which I didn't watch, and Dune Prophecy, which I didn't watch. So there you go. Honorable mentions, I had Fallout, which was a good show, and The Bear, which is also good. Let's see, Jahan, you had House of the Dragon, Fallout, and Marvel Zombies. Marvel Zombies, which did not come out.
Did not come out. The other two were fantastic, though, and when Marvel Zombies does come out, it will be fantastic.
You also had honorable mention. You just put superhero shows in general. You said The Boys, Echo, Umbrella Academy. So that was your anticipated or your honorable mentions.
Yeah.
Gary had the live action Avatar: The Last Airbender remake on Netflix on his top three. He had Invincible season 2, and he had the Alien TV show, which did not come out last year. It's coming out soon.
It's coming out soon, yeah. And it looks okay. I'm not crazy that it takes place on Earth in like modern times, but whatever.
Yeah. And he had Umbrella Academy, Echo, and Fallout on his honorable mentions. For fresh or most anticipated games, I had Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on mine, which was a fantastic game. Absolutely one of my top games of last year.
If you're a nerd.
Star Wars Outlaws, which clearly underperformed and was not well received, which is unfortunate. I played it a bit. I never finished it.
I feel like a lot of people didn't finish it because it wasn't fun.
It just wasn't fun. Yeah, it's like that. That's what it came down to. It's not like it was terribly made or anything. It just wasn't fun.
They took all the parts of games that you normally have to get through to get to the fun parts and made those the game.
Oh man, Jahan, I forgot my other anticipated game. Man, what a flex here. I had Princess Peach Showtime in my most anticipated games of last year. I think I was just excited for
for Peach to get a game.
For Peach to get a game, and it looked like they were doing some fun things with that. And I played that game a little bit, and it was fine. My honorable mentions include Avowed, which didn't come out until it's out now.
It's out now.
And I'm enjoying it now, but
it's very good.
It just didn't come out in 2024. Hellblade 2, which I liked.
Yeah.
And that was it. Then you had, let's see, your 3 anticipated were Frostpunk 2.
Yep. Solid game.
Dragon's Dogma 2.
Didn't play it.
Didn't play it, but it got good reviews. It was very well received.
Yeah.
And Hades 2.
Didn't come out.
Didn't come out, yeah. Your honorable mentions were Star Wars Outlaws and Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2.
Did not come out.
Yep. Gary said Warhammer Space Marine 2, which I know he played it.
And it was awesome.
Received.
Yeah, that was a good call.
Star Wars Outlaws.
Boo.
and he had Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, but only if it came on Game Pass.
That's fair.
His asterisk there.
That's fair.
So yeah, that was fun. It's fun to go back and.
It is fun to go back and see what we thought.
What we hit. What we
were
missed,
so
and
young
what
back
come
then.
Out. We were. Before we wrap up, I know we were talking about anticipated, and we didn't talk about the things we've currently been watching. For me, the reason for that is that not much. I was out of town this past weekend. I watched the new episode of The White Lotus, and that's really about it. And so, kind of by default, The White Lotus is my fresh pick of the week. I do think the second episode was solid. I think this season we're only 2 episodes in, but I still think it's been solid. I think that it's maybe off to a slower start than some of the past seasons, but it doesn't really matter because I vibe so much with this show and what it's doing that I still love it. So, The White Lotus season 2 is currently my fresh pick of the week.
That's fair, man. My fresh pick. I'm gonna go with Avowed. Actually, we talked about it last week on the pod a little bit. I definitely put some more time into it, and honestly, like, people have complaints about it. People are talking about, like, oh man, it doesn't have the living cities of Skyrim and stuff. It also doesn't have people glitching into chairs constantly. You know what I mean? Like, what it does very well. The game's pretty, it's fun, it's engaging, the combat's good, and everything works. You know what I mean? Like, I'm enjoying it immensely, and more the more I play it. So Avowed, definitely solid pick.
Yeah, I'm enjoying. I've gotten to now after the prologue, there's the first big kind of open area. I have now gotten past that area. I'm in the second big open area, and probably about halfway through that. I've done a lot of exploring, and I'm still really enjoying it. Like, I like the grind of the game. I definitely have some minor complaints about it, but overall, I think it's very fun. I'm enjoying my time with it. I still agree. I still stand by what I said last week about it, which is that I really like it. I don't know that I love it. It's still possible I might end up loving it as it goes on and I catch more of the story in new areas. But as of right now, I still just really like it a lot.
Yeah, I actually would like to say I do love it now. Very cool. And also, if you want to play the original Pillars of the Eternity games, they are available on Game Pass, at least for PC. Not sure if they're available on console.
They are. I actually today went and looked because I was like, I might try out these in the future now that I've played Avowed and played a little in this world. So Pillars of Eternity Complete Edition, the first one it's basically like a remastered version with everything on Game Pass on console and PC, and same for the Pillars of Eternity 2, which I think it's like the Divine Edition or something. It's like this, it's like the special edition versions on there. So yeah, they're there.
They're there. Check them out. But yeah, that was everything that we're excited for this year. So, hey, stay with us for the rest of the year and see how these things fall out. We're going to be talking about most of these games, shows, and movies during the show. Also, currently, we're trying to mess with our format a little bit. Hit us up. Let us know what you think, how you feel about the pod, what you want to hear us talk about, that kind of stuff. And, just give us some feedback. You can go find me at Jahan on Blue Sky. And what about you, Drew?
So over there on Blue Sky, I think I'm at D Munhausen.
I think you're at
Drew
D Munhausen. Yeah, something like that. But
yeah, if you'll find me, if you follow Jahan, you'll find me because we're retweeting each other or
Yeah,
blue skying.
Come check it out.
Blue
And also,
sky,
you can hear me
skiting
talk
each
more.
other.
Yeah, you can hear me talk more about TTRPGs over there and stuff like that. Also, you can watch us every Thursday over at Fresh Out the Box, the TTRPG side of this streaming endeavor. Currently, we're playing The Expanse TTRPG from Green Mountain Publishing. We have our second session tomorrow night, Thursday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So check that out. I have been the board game guru and game master extraordinaire, Jahananan.
And I am the professional media and movie mastermind, the Funhouse, Drew Munhausen. Thank you for listening to episode 144 of Fresh Out the Podcast. Follow us on social media, interact with us, let us know what you're looking forward to this year, because we like to engage and we like to hear what are you looking forward to.
Thanks everybody. Stay fresh.